There are bad guys, there are villains, there are dark gods, and then there is Doom. Victor Von Doom is more than just a comic book villain of the week, more than just a mad scientist, a master sorcerer, or even just a tyrannical dictator. He is an idea that has transcended the pages of Marvel Comics and wrapped its iron fist around pop culture. A name that is uttered in games, philosophy, and even music. A ruler, a genius, a god emperor. But why? What is it about Victor Von Doom that keeps even the general public fascinated? Why does he, more so than many other villains, command our attention and our imagination? Let's peer behind the mask of our favourite dictator and explore who this guy actually is. Victor Von Doom was born to Romani parents in the small European nation of Latveria. Latveria was war-torn and savaged by the ruling monarchy. His father, who was a healer, died fleeing this monarchy. Not to be outdone, his mother, a sorceress, was killed by the goddamn devil Mephisto. Orphaned like any good hero of a comic story, the brilliant Victor became obsessed with both science and magic. He began his journey to free his people in America as he attended Empire State University, meeting Reed Richards. In either his own or Richards' arrogance, depending on who you believe, an experiment ended in catastrophe and horribly disfigured his face. Exiled and ashamed, he sought mystical enlightenment in Tibet, forging his iron mask and armor. Effectively now just being the best parts of Doctor Strange and Iron Man, he returned to Latveria and overthrew the corrupted monarchy. Since then, Latveria has seen peace, stability, and prosperity with a people who worship their glorious leader. In any other universe, he is the hero. However, this is where he goes at odds with the heroes of the Marvel Universe. An uncomfortable question. Would the world be better if one person, one supreme mind, was in charge? Would there be an issue with Hydra, AIM, or any other teams of villains if Doom was the one ruling Earth? In the 2024 Blood Hunt series, a legion of vampires effectively laid siege to all of Earth, except Latveria. Latveria was protected due to Doom's due diligence in protecting his people and his nation. The Avengers were arguably only able to get the upper hand on this worldwide vampire plague because of Doom's interference. And now to look back at Latveria, they were a third world country hidden under the thumb of an evil monarchy. After Doom's rule, Latveria has eradicated poverty and crime. Latveria has no homelessness, no hunger, or unemployment. Economically, Latveria thrives under Doom. Due to his technological advancements, he has turned the country into a self-sustaining powerhouse. With advanced robotics to clean energy sources, Latveria is leagues above the other world powers. Culturally, Latveria is isolated, but its rich history is still preserved and historical castles well maintained. Latveria even has a national holiday expressing their gratitude for Doom, which is called Doomsday. Okay, so Doom is an interesting villain. He has proven time and time again that he would be a good fit for ruler of Earth, and that tends to be his goal. So why does he stand tall above the other villains the Marvel roster provides us? Let's have a flash through some examples of classic Avenger level threats and compare them to our favorite benevolent dictator. Let's look first to our favorite ballsack-chinned alien, Thanos. Thanos in the movies is very different to the Thanos we get in the comics. In the comics, he was born a psycho. He is called the Mad Titan for a reason. His mother tried to kill him the minute he left the womb. He is obsessed with death until he fell in love with the physical manifestation of it. Even with death being a real character in the verse, and a hottie that you could imagine falling for, at times it's not clear if Thanos is actually falling for the real thing or his own madness. For a great version of his origin, read Jason Aaron's 2013 5-issue miniseries, Thanos Rising. Thanos is insane. He wants power to impress a universal concept. That madness is entertaining, but a little bit out of grasp for an audience to really resonate with. And that's why they had to turn him into an ecological warrior for the movies, which has never really been Thanos' deal. Doom, on the other hand, wants power to save everyone on Earth. Thanos, in both comic and movie format, however, just sees himself as a tool for a higher purpose. Thanos sees himself as an agent of destiny, whereas Doom sees himself as destiny. He doesn't need a cosmic MacGuffin like the Infinity Glove. His sheer will and intelligence will see him to victory. And yeah, it was a God Emperor Doom who was ultra buffed by an enslaved Molecule Man, but Doom Mortal Kombat finishes Thanos and you can't really come back from that. Next, we have Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, Storm and Norman, our favorite cornrowed Caucasian. While he is classically considered a Spider-Man villain, he has also been a persistent thorn in the Avengers' side. Just look at Marvel's Dark Reign storyline to see his full potential as a mastermind. Here, Osborn embodies the evil billionaire archetype, leveraging his vast resources and the capitalist machine to seize control of both the Avengers and America. His rise to power as head of S.H.I.E.L.D. and eventual war against Asgard parallels Doom's own conquest of Latveria and his clashes with the entire planet. Even when we factor in Osborn's Green Goblin persona, his methods remain strikingly similar to Doom's. Both wield advanced technology and high-end weaponry to serve as formidable physical threats to heroes, but this is where the differences start to emerge. We understand Doom's motivations, his vision is clear, but what drives Osborn? His ruthlessness and aggression are byproducts of the Goblin formula, turning him into a brilliant yet deeply unstable man. Doom, on the other hand, is not ruled by madness but by cold, calculated ambition. It's madness versus methodology, and when it comes to who is easier to comprehend, Doom stands victorious once again. Now let's look over to Ultron. The genocidal AI wants to wipe out humanity, believing organic life to be inherently flawed. Doom, in contrast, believes humanity can be saved, but under his rule only. Where Ultron is a machine devoid of human qualities, Doom's humanity is his greatest strength. It's difficult to relate to a soulless robot bent on extinction, but Doom believes he's saving the world, and that's what makes him compelling. Then there's Galactus, the world-eating cosmic entity. He has no personal vendetta, no ideology, he simply consumes planets to survive. That makes him terrifying but completely unrelatable compared to Doom's deep-seated philosophy and personal ambition. Loki is another major villain, a god burdened with glorious daddy issues. Sure, plenty of people have complicated relationships with their fathers, but few would try to kill their brother and conquer the 9 realms over it. This isn't to say that these characters lack depth or that their motivations aren't iconic, but what makes Doom stand apart is his unwavering vision, a trait that has deeply resonated with the real world. When discussing relatable villains or which villains were actually right, few compared to Doom when you strip them down to their core ideologies. The only one true rival in this regard might just be Magneto. And that makes sense. Magneto has received faithful live-action portrayals through Ian McKellen and Michael Fassbender, cementing his place in the public consciousness. Doom, on the other hand, has never had a proper on-screen adaptation. Every live-action version of him has been pretty much a disappointment. And how could an audience not resonate with a magnetic Holocaust survivor who's trying desperately to avoid another genocide of his people? Yet despite this, Victor remains arguably even more iconic. Additionally, Magneto has often fought alongside the X-Men, sometimes blurring the line between hero and villain. While this has led to some of his best storylines, it also highlights a key difference. Doom never wavers. His ideology is so firmly established that there's no deviations. He remains Doom always. His origin story is closer to a hero's journey than that of a traditional villain. And while great origins aren't rare and relatability doesn't always guarantee popularity, Doom's case is special. Because when people think of Marvel villains, Doom is always in the conversation. Just look at his real-world influence. Underground rap legend MF Doom built his entire music career around Doom's imagery, amassing a cult-like following just like the villain himself. In gaming, Marvel Ultimate Alliance introduced an entire generation to Doom as the ultimate antagonist. He is one of the very few villains to be added to Fortnite straight from the comics without a live-action tie-in, proving his relevance to a new wave of fans. And now, 2 versions of Doom are set to be the major antagonists in Marvel Rivals, further solidifying his status. It's almost unheard of for a character to be so popular and influential without a single definitive live-action adaptation. You can't really name an actor that has played Doom that stands with stuff like Ian McKellen or Tom Hiddleston as Loki. It's just not the same conversation in terms of live-action appearances. And yet, Doom stands above them all. Dr. Victor Von Doom is more than just a comic book villain. He is a philosophical symbol, a reflection of historical rulers, and a manifestation of age-old debates about power, destiny, and governance. The principles behind Doom's character are ideals that humanity has been obsessed with since the dawn of civilization. Doom's unwavering belief in his own superiority, his pursuit of knowledge, and his authoritarian rule over Latveria all have real-world, historical, and philosophical parallels that make him one of the most compelling villains in fiction. Doom, unlike many pop culture villains who seek domination for selfish reasons, doesn't see himself as a villain but a necessary ruler. A ruler who must seize power to save humanity from itself. His authoritarianism is rooted in the belief that he is the only one capable of saving the world. Not the Avengers, not traditional law enforcement, not any other superhero team. This aligns itself with German sad boy Friedrich Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch, or Overman, a being who transcends traditional morality and imposes their own order upon the world. Doom sees democracy as flawed, chaos as inevitable, and only through his iron fist can true order be maintained. This reflects his Machiavellian philosophy of leadership, where power must be taken and maintained through cunning, force, and calculated ruthlessness. If you ever want to sound smart within a YouTube essay, quote a smart Greek guy like Plato. Plato had the concept of the philosopher's king, the idea that the best rulers are those with both knowledge and wisdom, ruling not for personal gain, but because they are the most fit to do so. However, unlike this ancient and hopeful view of a dictator-style leader, Doom is fueled by his ego and vengeance. He rules his country with a closed fist, yet Latveria lives in prosperity and safety. This paradox mirrors historical figures like Julius Caesar, Napoleon Bonaparte, and even modern strongmen who justify their authoritarian rule. This creates a moral paradox. Would a dictatorship be justified if it truly led to peace and prosperity? As trust for our modern world leaders is at an all-time low, Doom forces the audience to confront this uncomfortable question. Outside of his quote-unquote villainy and leadership, there is something else that attracts an audience to hail Doom. He reflects geniuses from history that civilization has been obsessed with, like Leonardo da Vinci and Nikola Tesla, both of which have long been rumored to blend science and mysticism to achieve ultimate knowledge. His mastery of both tech and sorcery make Doom transcend the human limitations the rest of us are being held up to. His mind is not bound by any one discipline. This is the ultimate power fantasy, and it's central to Doom's appeal. He represents the dream of complete self-mastery, a mind so powerful that it bends the world to his will. His intelligence does not serve anyone but himself. He answers to no higher authority, no government, no ideology beyond his own. In many ways, Doom is the Renaissance ideal taken to the extreme, a polymath whose sheer determination pushes the limits of what's possible. Like Da Vinci, who designed machines centuries ahead of his time, or Tesla, whose ideas bordered on the mystical, Doom exists beyond the constraints of human limitation. This blending of science and mysticism set Doom apart from other villains and even many other heroes. Unlike Tony Stark, whose genius is purely technological, or Doctor Strange, who relies entirely on the mystical arts, Doom refuses to be confined by a single path. He masters both, providing that knowledge itself is his true weapon. This duality makes him one of the most compelling intellects in fiction. He is not just a scientist or a sorcerer, but something greater. He is a force that refuses to accept limits. Doom's self-perception as the greatest mind in existence is reinforced by his eternal rivalry with Reed Richards. Unlike other adversaries locked in battles of brute force, Doom and Richards represent a war of intellect, a conflict between two of the smartest men in the Marvel Universe. What makes their rivalry so compelling is that Doom does not seek to defeat Richards, he seeks to prove he is superior. Doom believes that if not for one twist of fate, he would be the one recognized as the greatest scientific mind of his time. This need to surpass Reed is not just about victory, it's about validation, about proving that Doom has always been destined for greatness, and it's something he did finally prove when saving the entire multiverse in Battleworld. Actually, recently, in the previously mentioned series Blood Hunt, Doom proved himself a better sorcerer than Doctor Strange by saving the world from vampires, and then taking the mantle of Sorcerer Supreme for himself. He proves himself smarter than Iron Man in the infamous Iron Man series, where Doom takes over the Iron Man mantle and arguably does a better job at eliminating crime, donning the suit than Tony ever did. Just let Fantastic Four the Thing say it himself. One of the biggest costume criminal takedowns in the history of costume criminal takedowns. That was not a good impression. If you want to compare him to another world leader from the Avengers, he has even proved himself above Black Panther. When he sponsored a coup of Wakanda to access their vibranium in the arc Doom War, T'Challa hid the vibranium behind a test from their ancient panther goddess Bast. To get through it, Doom must be deemed worthy by the ancient goddess, and he is. Bast looks through a million potential futures and sees that only under Doom's rule there is no evil. Doom's rule is the only way Earth knows peace. Doom has proven he is the better genius, capable of saving entire multiverses, the better sorcerer, able to hold back a vampiric takeover that trumped everyone else, a better technology-based crime fighter, making the biggest bust in hero history, and finally, a better world leader as per divine judgment. In this, Doom becomes more than a villain. He becomes an aspiration, a symbol of what intelligence, determination, and sheer willpower can achieve. His arrogance is earned, and his brilliance undeniable. Doom is the ultimate power fantasy, absolute control, ultimate knowledge, a nation's hero, and the ability to bend the world to our will. Doom is the personification of human ambition. He not only shines bright within his own universe, but he is also deeply rooted within humanity's obsessions over history. It is not surprising that even beyond his lackluster cinematic appearances, Victor Von Doom has cemented himself within the cultural zeitgeist of non-comic reading audiences. Doom makes us ask, if you had the power to change the world, would you use it? Would you impose your will if you believed it was right? Would you become a villain in the eyes of others if it meant saving them? It is no wonder that, even beyond his villainy, so many proclaim, "Hail Doom."
Man wants to rule the world, and he's one of Marvel's worst villains, biggest villains. But if you really think about it, those of you who are scholars and who really specialize in legal matters, you could walk up to any policeman in any city and you could say, "Officer, I want to rule the world." It's not a crime. He couldn't do anything to you. You could want to rule the world, and you could say that. Nobody would do anything. So if you really think about it, Dr. Doom, who's one of the world's worst criminals, doesn't do anything you could be arrested for. Now, DC never dreamed up a character like